don't know if you have read Andy Anderson about Hungarian Revolution. There is something very interesting in that book. In 1956, after the 20th Congress, when Khrushchev denied the misdeeds of Stalin, not workers, but actually students, and what we call in Eastern Europe intelligentsia, the footloose rebels is the term that Bobbes used to use, activist intelligentsia, organized in Petefi Circle. Petefi was a famous Hungarian patriotic poet. Nevertheless, they organized and they were fighting for 1 year, until 1 year after that, workers joined them, miraculously, I mean with great strength, but students, meaning activist intelligentsia, did come first. Very similar thing actually happened in Russia in 1905. The first meeting of the workers happened in the house of a man whose name was Father Gapon. They met there on the 28th of November of 1904. And at that meeting they decided that they have the workers to support the students. Namely, students the day before, and you have beautiful description in Maxim Gorky about this, actually went and they were massacred by the forces of the Russian Tsar. And then workers decided to join them. And after a year of rolling general strikes, the first Soviet was created. And the place of the Soviet was the university. So, to whatever extent Gramsci, Italian Marxist, is right about the hegemony of bourgeois ideas, it is true that the activist intelligentsia, anarchists, middle-class people, that can create, they can go break through it by creating a space for workers and other struggling people to think for themselves, to experience for themselves, and actually through the anti-authoritarianism of the students, like in 1968, they can give workers the strength to oppose the, usual deference to so-called social superiors. We do, activist, anarchist movement, as middle class and white as it is, can play a useful role. Throughout the history, these people played a useful role. And I'm very concerned about something that exists in the United States, the problem of guilt. And this is something that we are talking about here. There are many reasons for many of us to feel guilty, especially for you guys from the United States. There are many ugly stuff that happened here, I'm sure you're familiar with, from slavery onwards. No, actually, from massacre, from genocide of American Indians onwards. But the thing is, guilt doesn't help us much. Yes, guilt is, we should feel in some way responsible. We should definitely be aware of this. But guilt is not a good political emotion. If you feel that you're responsible, that you have some kind of privilege, everywhere I go in the United States I hear people talking about privilege. If you feel that you have a privilege, then go and share this privilege with people who can actually use it. Joe Hill used to say, don't moan, organize. I think we have to say, don't moan, organize. Wherever we go, we have people saying, oh, I'm so privileged, I don't know what to do, I'm... No, stop moaning, organize. And that's what we need to do. And really, it's not that hard. And again, being from the Balkans, let me finish with something from the Balkans. I was recently reading an email from a friend from Greece. And in Greece, we had this phenomenal riots recently, as you know. Marxists call them credit crunch riots. They're not credit crunch riots. They're much more serious and much more interesting than that. And there's in Greek mythology, there's this idea of chaos, which is not disorder. Chaos is understood as an empty space, vacant space, that's awaiting occupation. And it was inside of this vacant space that the silver egg was hatched, laid, that hatched Eros. It's an interesting myth. It gives us different ideas of thinking what can we do and how. Occupations, working class, occupations of factories are taking place now all over the place. Vistion in Ireland. Boss snappings, meaning kidnapping of bosses, beautiful practice that exists in France now. There are 4 bosses who have been arrested, who have been kidnapped. I mean, this is circulation of struggles. Hello, this is something that here should be put to practice. It's happening all over the place. And not to be Eurocentric, we need to look at China. We need to look at other places where you have like 20 million workers, migrant workers, who have just been fired. You have people who are occupying hotels in China, occupying factories. You have absolutely amazing experiences of struggle everywhere. And this is very important. But going back to the Balkans, there is a Greek myth, another Greek myth, the idea of kairos. The principle of kairos means the kairos is the perfect moment for action. Every once in a while, there is the situation of kairos, meaning every once in a while there is an opening, and people who want to change the world, in Greek, according to Greek mythology, can actually do it. And I do agree with Emmanuel Wallerstein there. I think that we live in an extraordinarily important time. And I think that today, tonight, these few months, probably maybe even years, we live the real moment. We live the kairos. So we need to get serious. We need to organize. We need to create a program. We need to create a strategy. We need to transform ourselves from a movement, from a scene, to a movement, to a community of struggle. And we need to make ourselves useful.